Tuesday, guys. Good morning. I'm kind of running a little late. I woke up and there was ambulances next door. So I obviously started praying for them, making sure everything was okay over there before I got my day started. It was a little bit distracting, and like I say, guys, I come to you with what God gives me that morning. And the distraction immediately had my mind going somewhere else. But immediately I get into worship and I start praying and I start asking God, what is it that you want me to talk about today? What is it that you're going to deal with me today? Because it's important. And today's topic is unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is poison. I'm going to get into it after getting into some details about an article that I read about all these signs of unforgiveness. But before I get into all of that, understand that forgiveness doesn't mean that you kind of like overlook the offense and make it like it's not important. Forgiveness is for you to free yourself from walking around with that poison in your mind and in your heart. It starts to eat at you over time when you don't acknowledge it. So I'm going to obviously keep referring to my notes because God gives me my downloads and my golden nuggets as I write. So like I always say, I like to take the knowledge that God gives me and then I try to pour it back into myself, my inner child. What is the advice that I would give myself to learn how to walk in this advice? And so I'm looking at this perspective as I'm talking to my younger self in love and kindness. In order to be forgiven, guys, we have to forgive first. And that's the key. We have to take the first step. We can't sit here and wait for every person who we think owes us an apology because we feel offended by something in order to forgive. Because, newsflash, time is passing by and we are wasting it. We only have one chance to live today. And once it's gone, it's gone. So we have to make the choice to either add to our lives or to keep taking away from it. The other healing comes when we actually take the action. Take the action to go through the experience. We have to walk through things. We can't walk away from things. We can't close our eyes to things. We can't hope that it just goes away. We have to take action. We have to take the first step. We have to step up to the plate and take control of our lives, take control of our minds. I was reading an article this morning by, let me just get this. I'm trying to get the moon up there because I feel like it's my inspiration a lot of times. Joyce Myers, preacher, powerful. She spoke a message about unforgiveness, and she gives 6 steps for you to actually look at and do a self-assessment. Are we walking around with any of these 6 things that will help us to bring forth, to help us recognize? And when I say this, this is for me too. We all have to do an unbiased, true assessment of where is our heart. So she talks about 6 ways to detect unforgiveness in your own heart. And the key is we got to expose these and we have to deal with them. Flat out and simple. We can't walk around it, tiptoe around it, ignore it. We just have to face it and deal with it. So the first one is unforgiveness always keeps score. Wow. I mean, like that's layers and layers and layers. Years later, think about how much stuff we walk around with. Luke 15:29 talks about the prodigal son that comes back, and the elder brother of the prodigal son says, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders, yet you never gave me even a young goat." But when this son of yours comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. Wow, like, we're always keeping score. We have this Rolodex. It's almost like we're keeping a nice little journal, so every time we can just bring it up. Peter asked Jesus, how many times do I have to forgive someone? And 1 Corinthians 13:5 says, love takes no account of the evil done to it. Own up to it. Forgive people. When you do that, that's how you learn to love other people. That's how you're able to love people that hurt you, people that offend you, people that are walking through other things in their lives. Love covers a multitude of sins. It's the answer to everything. The second thing she mentions is unforgiveness always boasts of its own record. Luke 15:29. These many years I have never done wrong. We're boasting. We're keeping record of how good we are in comparison to how good somebody else is. Judgment always says that I do good and others do bad. It creates a wall, guys. It's a barrier. It's a barrier keeping us from our very, very best. When we decide that we're going to compare. The third thing she mentions is unforgiveness always complains. Oh my goodness, guilty. We're always complaining. I mean, it's our nature. You have to, again, be intentional, be conscious, be aware of where your mind is going to start going when you're not willing to forgive. Unforgiveness always complains. When you hear yourself saying, you never do anything for me, this focus, this attitude, this lens, it only sees what others aren't doing instead of seeing what they are doing. And so therefore our perspective is our choice. Are we going to focus on what they're not doing, or are we going to focus on what they are doing? The fourth thing, unforgiveness has a martyr syndrome. Oh, okay. Example, I do all the work. You start to envy other people who are enjoying life because we're choosing to focus on the things that we're doing and what other people are not doing, either for us or in general. And if you see someone aggravating you because they're having a good time, and you're suffering with this martyr syndrome, and you have unforgiveness in your heart. The fifth thing that she mentions, unforgiveness always alienates, divides, and separates. That's the poison that fills us when we don't forgive people. These are divisive statements that you start to see yourself making, whether it be against a coworker or whether it be against your family members. When you're noticing you're trying to stay away from people, you're trying to avoid people, if there's a sibling that you don't talk to as much, you might need to do an honest assessment and see if there's something there that causes you to stay away from them, to ignore them, and maybe you need to forgive them. The sixth thing she talks about is unforgiveness is always envious and jealous and angry when somebody else gets blessed. Guys, we got to realize forgiveness is a decision. It's not a feeling. When we pray for people who have hurt us, it's a choice. But there's healing in it for you. Bless and do not curse them means speak well and not envy them. This is what you do. Listen, keyword, when they're not around. If you can speak good of someone when they're not around, that's golden. That's true strength. That's character. That's dignity. Like I said before, love covers a multitude of sins. That's why it's one of the greatest commandments to love one another as you love yourself. And in that key, forgiveness also means you got to forgive yourself. You got to learn to forgive yourself of past offenses if you're ever going to move forward. If you can't forgive yourself, you can't forgive other people. If you can't love yourself, you can't love other people. You have to come from a place of healing. You have to love yourself, and you have to love you have to be able to love yourself in order to love other people. And what does that do, guys? That's for your personal growth. It's for us to grow. It's for us to get better. If we get better, everyone around us gets better. So we have to take the first step. And is it easy? No one ever said it was going to be easy. Like I said, life is an uphill battle. It's an uphill climb. We have to be able to start making a difference. If we don't start, don't expect somebody else to show up and do anything for you. Stop asking the world to serve you. It's time for you to step up and start serving the people around you. People are waiting for you to show up. We all, if we could just take some time and start cleaning up all the junk that we have inside of us, we could actually be effective in doing something good. There's power in numbers. Oh, I could keep going on about this, but time is running out, and I've got to get to the gym because I have to open it this morning. Talk about that another time. Anyhow, which is why I'm not going to prayer this morning. So if anybody is looking for me this morning, it's because I had to go open the gym. Anyhow, let's finish this lesson on unforgiveness. So, knowing what unforgiveness is, how about we just take a quick second to look at what forgiveness really is? Forgiveness is a conscious, deliberate decision to release the feelings of resentment and vengeance toward those who have harmed us, regardless of whether they deserve it or not. Key word, regardless of whether they deserve it or not. It is freeing you. It's freeing you. You can't control other people's actions, and you can't make other people forgive you. This is not about them. This is about you growing you. You take the step and forgive other people. You grow. You live your life. You move forward. Stop using excuses, because that's really what it is. Stop using excuses. If you think that forgiving someone is a sign of weakness, it's not. It's actually a sign of strength. It is a sign of true character. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that you're like denying the seriousness of an offense, or you're forgetting it, or you're condoning it. It doesn't obligate you to reconcile with the person who harmed you. It doesn't mean that you actually even have to reconcile with the person face to face. You have to let it go for you. It brings you a peace of mind. It frees you from corrosive anger. Anger is corrosive. It's dividing. It empowers you to recognize the pain, but you don't let it define you. It does not define you. It actually enables you to heal and move on with your life. That's why it includes self-forgiveness. Guys, you got to make a decision to be free. It's intentional. It's purposeful. You have the choice. You either choose to stay in bondage because you don't want to forgive, or you can take the step, forgive yourself so you can forgive others, so you can be free and you can grow and you can live. And most importantly, you can love all those around you that need you. And we can start to make a difference in this world. Really, we can. There's power in numbers. One thing I want to leave you with, Matthew 7:5 says, "Hypocrite, first remove the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." to wrap it all up, guys, in order to be forgiven, you have to forgive first. So I'm going to leave this with this nice quote that Joyce ended with. And she said, make a decision to start living a lifestyle of forgiveness and refuse to be offended. Be in control, guys. Make the right decision and watch how your life will change for you and for your inner child. So today's golden nugget, guys, let's learn to forgive and let go of offensive so that we can be free. Have an awesome day, guys. I'll be praying for you. I'll be praying for myself that God reveal any unforgiveness in my heart, because I don't know about you, but I don't have time to waste. I'm getting older, and I pray every day that I get wiser with God's wisdom, because I don't want to do this life alone. Clearly, if I do it alone, I'm going to mess it all up. But daily, seek wisdom, seek knowledge, seek to improve yourself so we can move forward and live and be joyful and enjoy this life. Have an awesome day, guys. See you later.